I think we should all be paying careful attention to the SBF trial. I think it highlights the importance of not having, or at least not trusting, a figurehead on top of our projects, right? So, for instance, the Ripple company has a CEO. While we see his work, while we might appreciate what he's doing, and he's proving to be, at least for now, worth his weight in gold, or salt at least, we have to continuously hold their feet to the fire. For instance, SBF, he was just a crazy guy. Now, all these things are coming out now. The most important witness, I think, so far has been Caroline Ellison. Some of the other witnesses that I've seen have just basically been woe is me and talking about how they've been the victim. Caroline basically said some weird things that are just, I mean, why she didn't just come out as a whistleblower after all these things that she basically knew, just makes her, in my opinion, culpable and an accomplice, right? That was her ex-boyfriend. So I suppose all things are fair in love and war. This article is actually quite interesting. 5 takeaways from Caroline Ellison's testimony in SBF trial. Okay, I'm just going to skip to number 1. Ellison said FTX's $648 million purchase of shares in the mobile brokerage app Robinhood was paid for by Alameda. That's illegal in all sorts of ways, right? And it's crazy, it's reckless, and it's irresponsible, right? But hey, before the stake was made public, Bankman-Fried asked that the shares be moved to another entity, an investment entity he controlled. She said Bankman-Fried didn't want his name associated with Alameda. This is the kind of behavior that you see, I'm sorry to say, in like rogue states. You know, these like rogue countries that have these dictators that run the bank account of the country like their own personal bank account. They put their own personal names on the country's revenue and sign checks from their own bank account to their ministers. This is kind of behavior. So at this point, Ellison should have seen SBF as sort of this rogue dictator and sort of someone who's obviously stinkingly rich but corrupt to the core, right? But she kept on playing along with it. Number 2, Ellison also said Alameda loans were hidden in audits and that SBF told her the auditors wouldn't see them. Ellison has pleaded guilty to 7 felony counts, including conspiracy and defrauding customers and lenders. She has previously said that she and SBF knew they were misleading lenders about FTX and Alameda being separate entities and about how much the trading firm was borrowing from the FTX trading platform. So basically, they were cheating you guys, whoever was, I mean, I never invested in any of these FTX things. I mean, I was affected indirectly because I had Terra Luna, which I believe was somehow linked to these guys, but they were deceiving the customers. They knew they were deceiving the customers. They were manipulating the market. And they didn't care. Okay, at least she pleaded guilty. So that's at least a plus. Rather than being separate entities, Alameda and FTX initially were both run by the same team, Ellison testified, adding that Bankman-Fried set up the system that let Alameda borrow customer money from FTX and was CEO of Alameda when it began using customer deposits. SBF's defense attorney, Matt Cohen, has said Ellison bore some of the blame for FTX's collapse and that she didn't heed SBF's advice to hedge Alameda's crypto bets. So Ellison is just as guilty as SBF as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, the trial is still going on. I'm not a legal person. I'm just stating an opinion. And judging from the things that she said, I mean, she has her own free will. She's an adult and her own faculties. She knew she was doing something illegal, but they just didn't care. They were just blowing people's savings and people's life investments, you know, and they were just basically embezzling and doing what they wanted, okay? Ellison said that Bankman-Fried was very interested in politics. Well, that's not surprising, judging by the number of politicians that appear to have been in his pocket, and that in addition to Alameda's providing FTX executives with money to make political donations, he also told her there was 5% chance he might become president someday. Now, can you imagine SBF as president of the United States? SBF donated millions of dollars to political candidates and was amongst the largest individual donors to Democrats in the 2020 and 2022 elections. No comments. SBF also liked to suggest wildly risky bets, such as a coin flip in which tails could mean the end of the world and heads could mean the world would be twice as good, Ellison said. Ellison met SBF at the Wall Street trading firm, goes into their background. See that last point there? That's like a Bond villain, that's like some kind of psychopath, man. You know those films that you watch where the villain would be like, okay, put this guy under the rotating saw and then like flip a coin, and if it goes heads, hey, release him, and tails, cut this, whatever. This is the kind of person we're dealing with. This guy was a sociopath, a psychopath, who embezzled money without care, who felt he was above the law just because of how many probably legal entities and politicians he was lobbying and basically funding, right? And these kind of people are very common, actually, more common than you think. A lot of these figureheads that we have now sitting on top of financial institutions, countries, even in crypto, right? These figureheads that are controlling vast amounts of money and people's trust, they're in league with each other. They're all collaborating with each other. They're manipulating everyone. This whole crypto thing is, on the highest levels, is subject to so much manipulation, right? Even the most recent thing that happened with the fake news that was tweeted by Cointelegraph because some person sent a message somewhere. Who's to say that this whole thing wasn't orchestrated just so that some people, some whales, can have some exit liquidity, right? We, the average, the everyday user of cryptocurrencies, the hodlers, investors, retail people, ordinary people, we must remember that everything is manipulated. The elite is in control. Don't become a cult member. Don't put your faith in people. Don't trust. Verify. No financial advice. I'll see you in the next video.